Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm here to share my thoughts on the Chanel Holiday 2022 makeup collection. I picked up 4 pieces from the collection. I didn't pick up some things. We'll go over all of that and then what my overall thoughts. Right, so here is, I'm trying not to get the ring light in. Here is the packaging if you order like one item or, one item because they have to fit the samples in. You've got a nice gold cardboard carton like this with the CCs on one side. And the theme is that whole celestial constellation, night sky type vibe. So you could see there that the items look like sort of constellations of stars, lovely red and gold ribbon. So it's great for gifting, of course. This one is more glossy, the bigger one. This had like 2 or 3 items in, and then it's a Chanel on there. It's okay. So let's start. There, I'll tell you what's in the collection. 2 supersized highlighters. I have one of those. 1 eyeshadow quad, and then a really weird like gel balm glittery eye duo that's like a balm that you can press for shimmer. I don't have that. And then the lips is confusing. There were 2 of the lacs, Rouge Allure Lac. I have one of those. And then there were 2 new Rouge Allure Extract lipsticks, and I've never had that formula either, so I got one of those. And then there were a couple of re-promotes, and then I think that's it. Oh, 3 nail colors, which I didn't have because I get gels. Yeah, I got 4 pieces. I got the supersized highlighter, and in video it doesn't really show. I wish I had another Chanel compact. That's what a pro would do to compare, but it is massive. You get 16 grams, I believe, of product in there. Yep. I got the eyeshadow quad, and then, as I said, 2 lip products. One is a lac, so the one's in a glass thing like this. I'm going to show you all of this, don't worry. And then the Rouge Allure Extract, and we're going to talk a bit about that formula as well. Then I want to also compare with my recent purchase that I'm absolutely loving of one of the Tweed palettes, to compare with this one because they're quite similar in my opinion. Okay, so let's start with the highlighter. It's big. I don't really understand why this highlighter is so big. I don't see, it's not a very light, subtle highlight that you can just whack everywhere and, in my opinion, and use up a large amount. If it was a face and body product specifically, I would understand why they made it so big. There are 2 of these as well. This is all rose, and the other one is more gold, like a deeper kind of brassy gold. And that would be too deep for me, in my opinion, so I got this one. Did I need it, and will I get a lot of use out of it? I don't think so. So I'm going to swatch it for you, although it's not, there are lots of great swatches online, and you need to check out daylight and flash swatches. I'm just going to put this on my hand here, and you can see that's pretty accurate. It's got a definite apricot or peach tone to it, rather than a more neutral rose gold. I love the Bronze Goddess kind of rose gold highlighter, which is very shiny and foily, but the color of it, you can apply it quite liberally and it doesn't really show up in terms of pigment and color, whereas this is quite like a blush top or even like a shimmery blush on me. You can see I've put a little bit of bronzer to contour today and to warm up my forehead, but on my cheeks I'm just wearing this as like a blush because it's too pigmented for me to put kind of here. I have to place it here where you're expecting to see color from a blush. If I put it right up here, I felt like it was a bit dark. It's worn off a bit now because I've been to school since I applied my makeup, but I put a bit here, here, and here, and it's too much so that my skin looks not dirty, but like dark there. So I'm like a 20 in Chanel foundations. So if you, or like a 2N in Dior. So if you are like a porcelain or a 1 or a 10, like really fair, I would say that both of these highlighters are too dark for you. The formula is lovely. There's no fallout. It's like a baked gel, kind of baked cream format. When you play with it in the pan, there's no kick up or mess. And it's a very beautiful thing to look at. If you gave this to someone for Christmas who was a makeup lover, which for me, makeup gifts should kind of always be that thing that's a bit extravagant that you wouldn't buy yourself. Not your everyday tinted moisturizer or sunscreen, but like you open it and you're like, oh wow, that's pretty to have on your vanity. This is a great gift. But in terms of something, am I going to use it heavily? I doubt it. I've used it today on the cheeks, and I've also used it over the top of the eyeshadow look, and I'll explain why when I get to the quad. And the formula is lovely, and I understand the coppery tone, the pinky tone, in the context of the whole colour story of this collection, and I do like it and I'll have fun playing with it. Was it essential and worth the money? I can't remember the prices of all these things, but I think this was 60 or 70. It was a lot, but you do get a lot of products. So if this colour works for you as like an actual everyday highlighter, then you've got a lot of highlighter to use and you'll go through it eventually. And you'd use that colour all year round. If you've got loads of highlighters that you like and you're only going to use this to complement this holiday look, then I don't know if it's worth it. But it's pretty, and the embossing and everything's lovely. So that is All Rose limited edition oversized illuminating face powder, and there's the packaging. And also, like with all the holiday stuff, the CCs are gold, whereas normally they are white. So that's that one done. Next, onto the eyeshadow quad, and I have quite a lot to say about this. The other reason I felt pressed to do this, where's my, oh, it's in here. Pressed to do, oh, that one doesn't come with a velvet pouch, whereas the eyeshadow does. Again, you've got the gold thing here. Now this, the colour of this, there's only one to choose from, is 937 Ombre de Lune, limited edition, multi-effect quadra eyeshadow. And the colours in here, a lot of people who sort of skipped this collection, a lot of people that I follow, beauty YouTubers, and I was like, oh, I wonder what they think of this collection before I even ordered anything. Said, oh, I'm skipping this collection because it's not for me. I don't like the colours, blah, blah, blah. It's too warm. It's almost orange in tone. So I was like umming and ahhing, and I looked at so many videos and swatches because I'd already bought this and I thought I don't want to buy another one if I don't like need it. So these are the colours. And the other thing to say is they look quite warm here, but they look wearable and relatively neutral. I will swatch them in a minute next to this and insert that. But you've got a very peachy tone up here, more warm than even the highlighter. And I would say it does border on a light kind of apricot orange. Then there's a gold glittery colour here, which is lovely for absolutely intense shimmer and sparkle that catches the light. I wore that when I went out for dinner. It was lovely. Then this kind of quite mid matte brown, and then up here a nice pearly sort of taupey shade that I've got on. So I'm mostly wearing this one, and I think it pulls relatively neutral, but it looked a bit flat, and so I did put some of the highlighter with a bigger brush just over when I did my cheeks. I like it. I would say that the formula, weirdly, with Chanel eyeshadows, I use these little applicators that come free. I feel like it's the only way you get to pack on enough of the colour. If you use like a MAC 217, my favourite blending brush and does everything brush, into these, I feel like you don't get much. And if you've put anything on to prime, I use a MAC Paint Pot Painterly generally to tidy up and even out the tone of my eyelids before I start, and also it gives a base. I feel like they dragged and skipped a little bit, which I didn't find with the Tweed one. The formula is very different. These are very hard pressed and they feel buttery when you touch them, but I don't know. It's not an opinion that I've seen from others. I just feel like I find this harder to work with than the Tweed ones. And I know a lot of people complained about the Tweed ones. Maybe all four are different, but my one is super pigmented and it's super easy to blend. I prefer that formula to this one. So I like the colours, and they're my colours. Are they specifically holiday, or are they more just general warm autumn vibes? Yeah, I mean, I'm wearing a berry jumper and a berry lip, but I like this rather than a very bright red or bright gold look, which was a bit like the look last year. I like all of this, and I will use it until like we go into more springy makeup, so it's fine for me. So what should we do now? I'm just going to cut away now and show you swatches of the Tweed palette and the Christmas palette together, so that you can see if you have the Tweed one that I have, if you think you need both. Right, so here we have I've gone left to right and then left to right on the bottom row. So these are the colours in the Christmas palette. This is a matte kind of, I don't know, medium brown. The gold kind of accent shade. That's not like just packed sparkle like the tweed one. That is more of just a satiny, slightly shimmery shadow. And then these two that are like slightly satiny, but they're like a soft, almost very low-key satin, almost matte. These two shades that are at the top. And this is the one that pulls super warm and makes the whole palette have a very kind of peachy, dare I say, orangey tone. And I will, because a couple of people asked me to, I'm going to swatch the highlighter shade next to those, because what I'm going to suggest is that you could get that highlighter and mix it with other palettes that you have to replicate this look. So this shade and this shade, or even this shade and this highlighter, are quite similar. And then this is the Tweed Cuvée #1. And it looks really, it's weird. They don't look like how they swatch. So you can see the formula is different because there's loads of fallout around. These are softer and powdery, but you get more pigment to work with. You just have to sometimes clean up under here. Whereas with the Christmas one, I didn't have to clean up under there. There's no fallout, but they're a bit stiffer and harder to like move around. Look how that does not look cool tone. That looks like a very warm toned gold palette. But when you swatch it here, that brown, this one, actually pulls, instead of a warm, rich chocolate, it's actually quite a flat, like dark grey brown. It's nice. So there's that brown, which is that really a matte? It's kind of quite got a bit of sheen to it. Then there's that other one. Then there's this bronzy shade, and then this really pretty shimmery gold. So if we do that, you can see that this is a lot warmer. There you go. Okay, moving on to the lip products. As I said, I got one of the lac and one of the extract. Never had these formulas before. I'm wearing now. This is a Rouge Allure lac. It's a bit patchy just there. It's lovely. It's looking more tan on my iPhone, but it's a lovely, I'm going to swatch it for you now. It's a lovely mid rosewoody pink with a gold sheen, but no individual little specks of gold. It just looks like you've almost got a gold eyeshadow, rubbed it off so there's not much, and kind of, it's really lovely. It's in a glass thing like this with a doe foot applicator. And it's just a lovely colour, and I really thought, oh, this formula is not going to work for me. Plummy, but not still like light enough to be more in the pinks than in the kind of burgundies. There you go. That's it next to the highlighter. So this formula, I've never had one of the matte ones, but these Rouge Allure Lac Shine, an 88 Rose Mystère Ultra Wear Shine Lipstick, Shine Liquid Lip Colour. You put this on, you can feel something. It doesn't dry down like the Dior Forever that I'm going to do in my next video, talk to you about. You can feel a bit of tack, but I put this on at about 2 o'clock and it's now 5:20. I've drunk water from a glass. There's no lipstick marks actually on there. And I've had a little Cadbury's mini roll. I ate a couple of sweets in the car. My ring light is going in and out. And I'm just going to turn you up ever so slightly. It suddenly goes way too bright right there. And although when you press your lips together, you feel it, it's not oppressive, it's not sticky, and you forget about it, and the colour stays. And the other thing I like about a long wearing lip product, I might do a separate video about these because this will make this too long otherwise. I shy away from liquid lips, long wear, ultra matte lipsticks, because they're just aging and they make my mouth feel dry. I get really dry lips in winter. But I bought this and I tried it one day, and I went to a pumpkin patch with my kids, did all sorts of stuff, was drinking takeaway coffee, had a scone or a cake, and it was still there. It will fade over time. It's not like a 14, 16 hour wear, but when it wears off in an okay way. Whereas when you Low-key enough for every day for me, but it warms up and brightens up my face. As I'm getting older, I need more colour on my face and not just all nudes. And I just forget about it. And it's got this little bit of a gold sheen, but it's really, really nice. So I'm just going to remove that. And as I said, when it wears away, it leaves you with a kind of subtle stain, but nothing patchy, nothing weird here. And you can, if your lips aren't too dry, you can just dab a bit more on if you're losing it in places where you've eaten. Obviously, if you have oily meal or something, it's going to come off. So, right, the Rouge Extract is something that hadn't really appealed to me. These are these high pigment lipsticks, high intensity lip color, concentrated radiance and care. So, by the way, with the Lacs, there was this one, the Rose Mystère, and then there was a bright red, and I just didn't really, I didn't know the formula, and I thought a long wearing red, don't know if I need that. So I went with this Rose Mystère, and then in this one, I went with the Brune Lumière, because I loved the Rouge Brûlant, which was a bricky browny red last year. These are very different. So they look like the Rouge Allure where you have a clicker, but they're longer and thinner, and then actually the bullet is tiny. So they are much more expensive than the other Chanel lipsticks. A standard Chanel lipstick is around 32, 34 pounds. I think these are like 46, I might be right. But they do come, you can buy refills. But you can't just buy the refill and use it because you've got no way of twisting it up. You have to have the housing to twist it up. So you need at least one full one. I worked out that you get 0.7 ounces or 2 grams, and you get nearly double that in a normal Chanel lip product. So this has got this is 5.5 mils in the Rouge Lac and only 2, so less than half. But another bullet lipstick is nearly double the size of this, and they're really expensive, but they are intense. You don't need much. They're just a luxe, another step up in the Chanel thing. And some reviewers have said that they won't buy these because they're so expensive and you get a lot less lipstick anyway. So I bought this color, and I really found it hard to find good daylight swatches. It looks really different on different people. So some people, including my friend Maddie, it looks pretty neutral and not too saturated on her. And then on other people, it looks like a blackberry, like really gothic. And I was trying to work out, I was like, are my lips pigmented? I don't really know how that relationship is between your base lip color and how a color will look on you. I know some people have very red lips, so that would make everything look kind of brighter maybe. My lips are not too pale, but I think they're quite neutral. I don't know. And I feel like sometimes I'll see a lipstick on someone and love it, and then when I buy it and put it on me, I don't love it. So who knows? But this is this color anyway, and it is, I'll swatch it next to these other ones. Oh my God, it's so unique and so delicious. There it is. It is a brownie, pomegranate-y, kind of cranberry, but you can see here, this one is more mauvey, the Rose Mystère, and this one is like a red, but it's berry toned, but it definitely has brown undertones, hence the name. The bullet's nice and small, so it is quite easy to get like a defined. I find here, because my face is chubby here and here, I find it really hard to get in and get a good line. But I don't like, with a bold color like this, I don't like a super defined lip line. Oh, come on, B. So that's it. Very lightly applied, and it's pulling very coppery. But that's the iPhone. You can build it up to be very bold indeed. They feel not heavy, not thick, but very sort of luxurious and serum-y or lip treatment-y. If you are a Chanel lip junkie, you should at least just try one of this line, and there's a whole load of shades. It feels very luxurious. Again, the other one that's new was a bright classic red. I think maybe it had gold flecks. Makes your teeth look really white. Whether I recommend it or not. So I got the highlighter. As I said, there are 2 shades. This is the coppery one. It's nice to have. It's not an essential. Would I buy this if it wasn't part of a holiday collection that I got all giddy over? Probably not, but it's nice. And again, it depends on your skin tone. The deeper your skin tone is, if you have from like a medium olive through to a really dark skin tone, I think both of these highlighters are lovely. You just have to choose the tone that works for you. You 1000% don't need both because they are pretty close. I'm just surprised they didn't do something for a deeper skin tone and a lighter one instead of 2 golds that are fairly similar. The eyeshadow palette, I will use it. I will enjoy it just like the highlighter. There's nothing terrible here. But the 2 powder products, the highlighter and this, are the weak links. The absolute hits for me are the lips. But I do like this color story. I think I would probably just assess it on its own merit if I hadn't recently picked up the tweed quad, which is much more expensive, by the way, because of that tweed case that was a really overpriced limited edition. This is kind of a regular, it's not too much compared to the regular ones. I need to play more with it and do more looks, but I found it not particularly easy to work with. I prefer the formula of the tweed eyeshadow quad, but I do like the color story and it works with the highlighter and it all kind of, it makes a cohesive color story. And then the lips, I'm so glad that this, ooh! I'm so glad that this lac was in, the shiny lacs were in the collection because, sorry, my ring light, I think it's on the way out. It won't do that very subtle, almost switched off that level that I like. It won't kind of hover there. Yeah, I'm glad. This is the most amazing thing in the whole collection for me, is the Rose Mystère shiny lac, because it's just so, I feel pretty, but I went to school to pick up Cece wearing it. It's not such a strong color, whereas this is more of an evening out color for me personally. But again, similarly, I'm glad I got to try the extract. I'm gonna, again, list all of these products down below because I do believe this is an unusual color, but I do not think it's like the perfect match with my skin tone. But I do like the color to look at. When I see it swatched on my hand, I'm like, oh, delicious. So I think that's everything, guys. I hope this was useful. I'm sorry it's not in daylight, and it was fun to play with all these products. Again, here's your highlighter, and it really coordinates with these kind of rosewoody kind of shades and this browny red. The eyeshadow, I do like it, but I prefer my #1 Tweed Couvray quad. I know these are a bit expensive because you're paying for this pretty tweedy pouch, but I actually prefer that over this. So if you have that, you probably don't need this. I will do it straight away. I will link all the products in the collection that I did buy. I won't list the ones I didn't buy. And as I said, the hit of the collection for me is the Rose Mystère Shiny Lac. And it's not called Shiny Lac, for goodness sake, do get it right. The Rouge Allure Lac Ultra Wear Shine Liquid Lip Color #88 Rose Mystère. And yeah, the fail for me in this collection is probably the eye quad. I will use it and I will enjoy it, but I know that I'm going to prefer the Dior one that I got, that you'll see in my next video. And you know what you could always do is use the highlighter with another warm toned palette and recreate that kind of holiday look, because this gives a nice sheen over the eyeshadows. I applied it quite a lot over top. But I've had fun playing with it. I'm glad I picked up all these items. I don't regret any of them. But I just, yeah, the formula of Chanel eyeshadow quads can be hit and miss in terms of pigmentation and blendability. It's not the best, but I will use it and enjoy it. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.